Welcome to the Life of KG, your ultimate destination for all things motivation and business insights. Join me, Katie Godfrey, serial entrepreneur and the brains behind the KG brand. Along the way, we'll welcome inspiring guests and share invaluable business tips to fuel your growth journey. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. With that said, let's dive into the world of success together. Are you a salon, clinic, or training academy ready to scale to the next level? My mastermind applications are now open. A mix of hybrid coaching, which is one-to-one direct access to me, group coaching, retreats, in-person days, online learning, everything that you need to scale to the next level. Click the link in the show notes below and fill out the application form today. Hey everyone, welcome back to A Life of KG. Today on the show, I have an absolute powerhouse, Jade Jones. And she's been my friend and my client for a long, long time now. So I'm really excited to get her on and share her story and how she's pivoted along the way to make the money. So, hey Jade.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited to be back after turning up last month on the wrong date. Traveling for 2 hours and you've been like, what are you doing here?
Oh my God, do you know what? That was so funny, but it worked out in the end, didn't it? We were in the studio and I was waiting for one of my guests to come in at 10 a.m. and she wasn't here yet. And then all of a sudden the doors opened and this gorgeous thing walked through and I was like, Jade, you're not meant to be here. You're meant to be here like now. And she's like, oh my God. But you ended up staying in the studio for the day, having some other filming done, so it worked out.
It was, and I got to listen to you do your podcast with Amy, and I just sat and did admin, and I really enjoyed it, and it was easier for me to get here today. But today we've made it on the right day.
Yes, definitely. And you was on the podcast how many years ago? 5 years?
It must have been about 5 years ago. Well, it was 5 years ago that I launched Pre-Jades, and I'd come in not long after launching. So yeah, we were in between 4 and 5 years, I'd say.
It's a little bit different now, isn't it?
I mean, to think now that I don't even sell Pre-Jades anymore, but that it was such a huge thing when we launched. I mean, it bought me my house.
Oh, it's crazy.
And to think now, closing it down, to the outside, people are like, well, why did you have to close it down? But, it's not always as it seems from the outside.
No. And I really, really want to go into that actually. But before we do, those that haven't listened to that episode 5 years ago, do you want to give us an updated intro of who you are, what you do?
Yes. So obviously my name is Jade Jones. I have a background in finance. So I was in finance for 10 years, left the industry because honestly, I love working with women. Started a beauty business, started out just doing lash extensions, saw a gap in the market for pre-mades. I mean, I found these pre-mades in Spain. I don't know how, because no one was using them. I really can't remember how I found them. And at the time, they were 3D, 4D, and 5D, quite thick bases. And I got them in and I was like, oh my God, I wasn't trained in Russians, just doing classics at the time, started using these volume and my clients loved them. And I was like, God, no one else is doing this. I've got this little side thing. And then I started training with an academy and I started to build a bit of a name for myself. And then realised that pre-mades were frowned upon. People didn't like pre-mades. Katie being one of them. But that was the whole industry. It wasn't just one person. It was the whole industry. I remember people saying to me, don't like your work. I don't want to look. You're never going to convince me. Anyway, by then I thought, I love this product. I need to find a product. Researched, launched Pre-Jade. So launched this, Lash range, the first company in the UK to start selling pre-made fans. And my intention was never to be a product supplier. No. It was to make this range of eyelash extensions acceptable in the industry so people didn't feel how people made me feel for using a certain product. And, I can proudly say that has and did happen. So we were kind of supplier and a service business. So I still carried on doing the lashes, grew my team. And then I moved over to aesthetics. So we were still running Pre-Jades, selling Pre-Jades at the same time as doing aesthetics. And to be honest, I just have such a love for aesthetics. I fell in love with lashes. I fell in love with pre-Jades, and it will still always like hold a place in my heart. But aesthetics for me now, the transformations you can make, the change in people's lives, the confidence you can give people, I absolutely adore. And I've been a training academy, for years and years and years. So it made sense for me to add from my lash and brow courses to teach in aesthetics, which I have been doing for 2 years now. And I launched a specific kind of course, an Accelerate to Aesthetics course. So it's effectively a fast track, but it's not over 5 days. It's over 3 months. And I personally believe to do aesthetics, you need to be training for a lot longer than a short fast track course. And more recently, we have just launched qualifications that are going to be coming in soon with the impending regulations. So for a long time, there's been this divide between medics and non-medics because there's no regulation. You can basically do what you want when you want, and it's just crazy. And it just brings down the tone in the industry, not just from non-medics, from the industry as a whole. So we've got these regulations that should be coming out in 2026 now. I mean, it's been in talks for a long time to kind of stop this divide and give medics and non-medics the same level of qualification within aesthetics. So level 4, 5 and 7, 4 and 5, 7 for non-medics, 5 and 7 for medics. And we've just launched our regulated qualifications, which is really, really exciting. We've had students enrolling, almost daily at the moment. And it's a massive, massive learning curve, but it's going really well. And I'm just all for having us all working from a certain standard, regulations, insurance guidelines, just to make it a healthier and safer place to be.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like just from that intro, we've got loads to unpick.
I've literally just covered like hours worth in 3 minutes.
But what I love from what you said, when you started pre-Jades, you was the only person doing it. And I feel that it's such, even though you don't have pre-Jades now, we sell them as a supplier. All the big suppliers use it. People using them across the country, the world. To know that you was basically, literally, I would take the creator, you're the creator of pre-mades. And I was one of them people, because I remember when we done our podcast years ago, I was like, I feel like we're cheating. It's why are we doing this? I was the one that was against it, and everyone knows I've been in industry. I think it was just before lockdown. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to have to have my own. I'm going to have my own range, otherwise I'm losing people here. Because everyone was going down that route. And now, laughable or not, the only lashes I will ever wear is pre-mades. Don't give me handmade Russian fans. I want them looking absolutely perfect. Even though my girls are really good doing Russian, but I like quickness as well. So I think that's incredible. But I think one of the things that I picked up with you talking was the fact that regardless of people's opinions, you went against the grain. And people don't do that because of fear, what others going to think. But actually you saw a gap regardless of what anyone thought, and you went for it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a point in my career, and I think as a businesswoman, we all go through this stage of caring too much what people think. You work so hard and you want everyone to like you, and you make mistakes because you just think, oh my God, I need that person to like me. I need this person to like me. And I just didn't have that strength I needed in business. And there came to a certain point where I was suffering with a little bit of anxiety around it all. And I don't generally suffer with anxiety. And I read this book. I mean, I've talked about it a few times, The Life-Changing Magic of Not Giving a Fuck. And there's a few books along those lines. And it talks about kind of reserving your fucks for people that deserve your fucks. And the more attention you're giving to the people that don't deserve it, and the people that you think might be judging you that aren't at all, you're taking that time away from your friends and your family that do deserve your attention. So you're creating this negative mindset. And I kind of just got to this point where I thought, why am I letting other people bother me? It's holding me back. Yeah. It's stopping me doing what I want to do. And with the pre-mades, due to all these opinions, I did stop them for a little while. There was me and my friend, she's still with me now, Alana. We were working in the ground floor of my old house, both of us, and we were fully booked day in, day out. And all we used was pre-mades. And from all of this kind of hate and negative feedback, I thought, I can't do pre-mades anymore. How am I going to progress and grow if I'm not an artist and I'm not doing Russian volume? So I went and trained with Moving Artistry, who's an incredible trainer, spent, a good amount of money, a couple of £1,000 on a weekend course to do Russian volume. I mean, I was already trained in Russian volume, but to enhance what I was doing. And I went home, spoke to Alana, and I said, we're cutting out pre-mades. We are doing Russian volume or classic. And I remember Alana being like, are you joking? I was like, nope. And I spoke to every client, and I just said, we're cutting out pre-mades. I've done this training. I want to be an artist. I want to give you these amazing Russian volume lashes that are going to look better. They're going to last longer. However, they are going to take me double the time, and I'm going to charge you double the price. Everyone was okay about it. I mean, back then I wasn't charging a huge amount. So I think I doubled infills from like 25 to 35 or something.
Yeah.
And I did it with a view to review it in 3 months. And I reviewed it, and I would say probably 100%, I don't think there was any that disagreed, had said, I love what you're doing. I support you as a business, but we're here longer, we're paying more, and I can't tell the difference. And I thought, shit. And everyone was like, can we go back to pre-mades? And by this point, I'd had, a bit of a name for myself in the lash industry on socials. And I'd put out there that I've sacked off pre-mades. I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to do Russian volume. And I had all this positive feedback saying, this is amazing. Well done. It's going to be incredible. And I thought, shit, what am I going to do? All of my clients want pre-mades back. And I thought there has to be somewhere that sells pre-mades that are amazing. And initially I did contact the company that I was using in Spain. And I mean, they didn't distribute to England at the time. And then I just started researching, in China, Vietnam, Korea, and getting samples. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to document it. And I documented that journey for a year. And even before I found my range and I had the range, I had the support of big names. I was mentoring with you at the time, doing stuff with other people. And after a year, I found these lashes. I tested them. I loved them. I tested them for months on lash artists that didn't like them. And I would test the curl, I'd test the longevity, the retention, everything. And then I found this range and everyone was like, oh my God, I love them. And I remember placing my first order and I spent £2,000 on this order. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I've just spent £2,000. I mean, I didn't have any money at the time. I was just doing lashes for 30 quid. So it was huge. And I got these lashes in and I sold, I don't know, let's say I set aside around 70% to sell and 30% I said, right, I thought I need to get these out there. So I don't know if you remember the post, but I was posting on Lash Obsession at the time, which was this huge group. And I put, oh my God, I've got these amazing lashes, tiny little bases, never seen before. If you want samples, comment below, free postage. And I had hundreds and hundreds, probably into the thousands. I remember sitting there for weeks and I got these little gem pots, these tiny little pots, and I put 4 fans. 4 pre-made fans in each pot. I mean, I don't know what anyone was going to do with that. And I just sent them out and I had envelopes and envelopes. And I sent them all out before I launched. And I was getting this incredible feedback. And then in January 2019, I launched. And I remember launching and I'd sent, you, Vicky Rugg, all the big names at the time, these samples. And I did £7,000 sales in my first month and nearly cut me out of all my stock. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then I just continued to invest. And I think in my best month, it was during COVID when we were just opening and closing again. And I did a buy one, get one free sale. I did £50,000. Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. That was the only month I ever did that. I mean, that was insane.
Obviously, I know the back end of what happens in all of my clients' businesses and numbers, and they'll always stay confidential. But we were going over your figures before that month and you were freaking smashing it. And I'm like, Jade, you're on to something. You're making so much money on one lash range. There's the likes of us, KG Professional, all the different thicknesses, lengths, sizes, all the things. And you've smashed it in one market alone.
Just with the pre-mades.
That is the beauty of seeing a gap, fucking what everyone else thinks, and running with it, and you've done it like an absolute boss.
I'm really, really proud of it. And like I say, my intention never was to be a supplier, but it just kind of happened. It was to make them accepted, and they were. You know, I had some of the Lash brands come in to train with me to work out how to use them, to find out how they work. And now, you know, every company does sell pre-mades. Pre-mades aren't frowned upon anymore. I mean, you get the odd person, oh no, I'd never use pre-mades, but actually they are beautiful. And I mean, it got to the point where I stopped investing into the business to buy a house. I broke up with my children's dad. It was just us three, and I thought, I need security for my family.
Yeah.
So I did actually take the profits out for a year, and I bought my house. And unfortunately, with, you know, the big brands that have marketing and everything behind them, I couldn't keep up. And ultimately, my passion was kind of going towards the aesthetics industry anyway. So it was last year I closed the business down, but, you know, we've spoken about it before. I have a bit of a knack of launching something before anyone else.
Yeah.
And making money from it and knowing when it's time to move on. And it's quite a nice thing to have that strength to be able to say, right, I'm closing this down and I'm moving on to the next thing, rather than just be like, oh, maybe it'll pick up. Maybe I should invest a bit more. I've never really done that, and it's always really worked in my favour.
I think it's really important for people to hear and see that too, because just because we launch something or we start something, it doesn't mean that you have to carry on. And then just because you do close it, stop it, or whatever that means, people assume in the outside world, oh, she's obviously not made it, or she obviously didn't make enough money, or whatever that might be. And you're like, no, actually, it's complete opposite. The complete opposite. You have to go and start businesses while the peak is happening. And when you start to see that everyone else starts jumping on it, which will obviously affect sales, or, you know, you fall out of love with something, or you want to go into something else, or you see a gap in the market in something completely different, which you've done, right, let's close this one and do this one, which also means you don't spread yourself in. What's the point you carrying on pre-mades and then working on everything that you've been working on now, which is incredible? Because what are you going to work on? Both of you would need your attention to stay successful.
Yeah, and it's all like a huge lesson in your growth and journey. Like, it wasn't a failure. Yes, the business didn't carry on, but ultimately that was my choice. And I learned so much from that. And I think in any business venture, you look at the positives. You know, I changed the perception across the industry, which was my ultimate goal. I bought a house for me and my children, and it's given me knowledge and experience to take on into my other ventures.
Yeah.
And I just think it's not even that it's failure, but, you know, if a business doesn't work, it's not necessarily negative. It's just take it as growth and lessons.
Everything. People always say, oh, but you had all these salons, or you've done this and that, or I've had a fashion boutique. I've had loads of, like, give me a business, I've basically had it. But it's like, yeah, but I don't want to keep up with them. Or if they boom, make the money. I had it the other day. We had trolling on social media, and someone said to me how you only have one salon now because your other one failed. And I was like, do you not realise that I sold that for over 70 grand within 2 years of having it? So please tell me how that's a failure when I only invested 10 grand.
Like, sometimes you just
don't understand really what's going behind the scenes. Like, so that's not a failure, no.
No,
why would I have kept it?
Absolutely not. Like, and it's almost, sometimes you're like, I don't even need to justify myself. No. I know exactly what I'm doing. And you know why I'm focusing on what I'm doing now? Because this is the area I've loved. And I've tried all these different things, and it's led me to what I'm good at and what I love. And that is what I'm focusing on. And unless you do that, how do you know who you want to be?
Yeah, exactly.
I think most business people do that. They not fail, you know, try, it doesn't work because your passion isn't there. And you find where you're meant to be. And I just think by doing stuff like that, it just makes you brave and strong and resilient.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. How have you found, like, running the businesses with the kids and being a single mum?
I'm really lucky. I mean, I've basically been a single mum since they were babies. Ian, my children's dad, we get on, we're friends, you know, we just grew apart. And we've always had the children 50-50. So it's coming up to 5 years we broke up, and my children are 5 and 8. And in the beginning, it was obviously tough because you kind of emotions are running high. But I've always just thought I just need to do this for my children. And I think for me, I've got a really great support network. Ian is an incredible dad, and if I need help, he's there. And his mum looks after the children, and she always has done for us. So on the week I have the children, I'll do the school run. She picks them up, and she goes to mine until I finish work. Yeah. And on his week, it's the same. He takes them to school, she picks them up and goes to his until he finishes work. So I guess I just don't really know any different. Yes, the week I have the kids, I still do my hours, but I've learned recently to kind of put my phone away, which has been really difficult.
Yeah.
And actually spend time with my children. But I think being a single mum, it's just made me so much more passionate about a mum and being the best version I can be for them. And it's taken me a little while, but to kind of learn in business to be able to be a bit present around them as well. But I think because I've had a supportive network through Ian and his mum, although it's tough, I don't know any different. And it's my life. You just do it. You don't think about how difficult it is or how easy it would be with someone else there. You just get on with it. I don't know any different. And I just feel really grateful that I'm very fortunate that I have the most incredible children and people around me for support. And they understand. I think they're starting to understand that I am on my own. You know, Daddy's got his family at his house and that Mummy's on her. So although they're young, it's really sweet. They know sometimes they're like, oh, you know, Mummy has to pay for the bills on her own. So sometimes she has to work. And so they understand that sometimes. If I've got to have a call, I'm like, right, Mummy does have to do this work call. And they'll be like, is that because you need to pay for the house? And I'm like, yes. And they'll be like, okay, we'll go and like do some drawing or something. It's really sweet. I'm really lucky. It's not easy by any means. It's not easy. I'm on the go all the time, but I don't know anything different.
Yeah, exactly the same. And I feel that it just brings them so much work ethic and the understanding of money, what things are worth. Like seeing their mummy graft, like, is going to literally change who they are as people and change their lives.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's so cute. We like had this bit of a situation recently and I was a little bit upset and my son saw me upset and he got a little bit upset, bless him, which is real life. You know, you try and safeguard them from that, but on the odd occasion they're going to see you upset. And he went into his bedroom and he came out with £43 that he'd got for his birthday.
Gosh, my heart.
And he was literally like, Mummy, like, this is my £43. Spend this to get someone to help you to make this better. And I was like, oh, baby, like, keep your money. And he was like, no. He was like, I want you to have it. He's like, is there anything I can buy you to make you feel better? And I just thought, this is everything. Like, I've brought my kids up to be so respectful. And I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of the way I conduct myself, carry myself, and, you know, bring up my children. And that just cemented everything. And I thought, oh my God, look at what I have got right here. It's incredible. And just to never take that for granted.
Yeah, I love that. I just absolutely love women in business. They're smashing out with kids. Like, and when people come at me and they're like, oh, I can't do this because I have children, or I can't do this because I'm a single mum. I'm like, no excuses here, my darling.
And I'm exactly the same. My girls will never, ever say to me, I haven't got time, because I'm like, I do not want to hear that excuse. You haven't got time. I appreciate with your current life, you haven't got time, but get up an hour earlier.
Yeah.
Everyone can get up an hour earlier. Or, you know, even if you're taking time out on an evening when you're in the bath, do a bit of social media in the bath. Like, there isn't an excuse. If you want it enough, you will make it work.
Yeah. It's whatever you decide to prioritise your time on, isn't it? Like, how much time you spending scrolling, how much time you watching Netflix, how much time you just doing nothing. Like
100%. And obviously I've joined your mastermind. I know we're going to go into that in January. And I set myself, you know, quite high targets. We sat down at the beginning of the year and it's just gone mental. And it has made me think, you know, last year, towards the end of some of the months, I would, you know, sit in the evenings and watch a bit of Netflix, watch Married at First Sight, watch all of this rubbish. And although I love it and it does like zone me out of life and sometimes give me that break I need, you know, these past few months, I haven't been doing it. Or if I do, I'm kind of like habit stacking, if that's what you call it.
Yeah.
And if I want to watch a bit of crap TV, then I do an hour of work beforehand and treat myself to that TV. But I haven't been doing it, and it makes such a difference by being focused and consistent. And, you know, obviously me working with you and just giving, it's stuff you kind of know, but having someone to hold you accountable. And then all of that extra is just accelerating my business in a tiny amount of time.
I love that, because you did just literally start in January as we're filming, like within February you hit goal.
February, March, January was close to goal.
Yeah.
February hit it, March hit it, April hit it. So it's just been crazy, literally a few months. And I was doing that from February.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I joined you in January, and from February, which is usually, you know, a really tough month in business.
That was the worst.
I actually went over my target, which is nuts, and it's carrying on.
I think we need to make a bigger target though, don't we? We're off in that after this.
I know. And I mean, I increased my target up by 8,000 from last year to do an extra 8,000 a month. And to know that I'm like kind of reaching those targets, you know, and a lot of it is due to the mastermind. And I'm very grateful for that, because the knowledge that you give and the community you've created with that group of mastermind girls is honestly incredible. And they are so supportive, and the same as you know, it's so nice just having you in my back pocket for everything.
If you haven't been on a business retreat, this is an absolute game changer for your business. I know so many people are so nervous about traveling on their own, being abroad, going on holiday, basically with a bunch of people that they don't know. But honestly, you will be so thankful that you made this move in your business. I host 2 business retreats twice a year, and they're all different places around the world. So go to kgbusinessmentor.com, press the retreat tab, and you'll see where we are going next in the world. Go and grab your space now. Yeah. I think people don't understand the power of like a mastermind. And I'm going to say a mastermind, and I don't mean to blow my own trumpet here, but I'm going to, so it is what it is.
You can blow your own trumpet. You deserve it.
I don't think there's any mastermind like this, like where the community is like, everyone is so picked, like to come into it. Like if I don't feel that there's a business that's going to blend with the rest of the businesses in there, I can't bring them in, because that community will break. It's like building a team. If you bring the wrong person in, like a bad team member, for example, and you've got a bad egg there, it affects the whole team. We're not a team, but we are a community. So if there was one bad person that we brought in, affects like, you know, that safety net we feel that we've got.
Yeah, and you know what's really nice about it is, as a business owner, you have your friends and they're supportive and they encourage you, but no one really gets it unless you're in it. So to be in a group where everyone is at a similar level with the same intentions, the same ideas, and the same passion for growth is really amazing. And, you know, with your mastermind, I do get you in my pocket. You have a life, you're a mum, you know, you're a fiance. And sometimes you're not there. And on those times that I haven't been able to contact you, I've posted in that group and I've had a number of replies, supportive replies, helping me with the answers. And that's, I don't know, I think sometimes more important than anything else, just to have that community where there's no judgment, everyone knows how you feel, and that support system of women is lovely. I love working with women, and I've got this like lovely little group of friends. And then the next thing, you know, a lot of them haven't met yet, but Marbella is coming up very soon.
Oh my God, I know. The retreats
so I
are
just
insane.
can't wait to actually face to face, you know, meet a lot of these women that are all supporting each other, because currently it's, you know, Instagram, WhatsApp. So I'm so bloody excited.
I'm so excited for Marbella. Like, so much is planned, which I can't wait for. But the retreats are literally like the icing on the top, like the absolute, like, life-changing experiences. And then obviously with the mastermind, the growth, the learning, the supportive community, me and back pocket, like all of it blended together. It's just so powerful.
Or even the platform that you have. So it's just like small things. You think, right, how can I do this? What do I need to do with this? How can I deal with this contract? How can I deal with this launch? Everything is in the platform. So you can literally just search and find a video on anything and everything, which Like, who else offers that?
Do you know what I love though? Like the fact that I worked with you 5 years ago when you was doing all pre-Jade. I think you was with me for a year then, weren't you? And then fast forward now, like, and I'm working with you again. I love that.
I know, it's nuts. And I was thinking for ages, right, I need to do this. And it got to January. I thought, right, I need to scale. I need something to change. It's working, but I just need help. I need a bit of support. And like I say, in the past few months, it's accelerated massively. I never hit my targets every single month, and I'm hitting them every single month. And if I'm, I messaged you a couple of months ago and I was like, shit, I've just looked at next month and I'm nowhere near. And you're like, right, what can we do? What can we do with the academy? What are your high earning treatments? Right, let's do this. As long as you can get that people on. And I'd literally sold all the spaces in less than 24 hours and made an extra like £10,000 in a day or something. It's nuts.
And let me just elaborate on that a little bit. We spoke to like that one-to-one, right? And you was like, I want to do this. What do you think? We sorted out the package, what's included. Then you went to the WhatsApp group and you stated, right, I'm going to do this. Like, what should I post? Then it was Laura Bell that turned around and was like, done a thing for you.
Incredible, like, writing post, yeah.
And then it's gone out and you sold in how many hours?
Yeah, literally within hours, all spaces went. And, it's not small, it's £2,500 courses.
It's high ticket course. Like you brought in a lot of money within that period of time, going from me to the group, putting it out there, being made accountable. And he was like, right, done it. I've made X amount of thousands in this time. I'm like, yes.
I did, and I'd sent Laura a picture of the like post I was going to put out. And she was like, perfect, but you need to just take that off, put your logo on. So, and from your support to the support in the group, to Laura helping me a little bit. And it was just incredible. Whereas if I'd done that on my own, the wording wouldn't have been as punchy. The caption wasn't as good. So that's obviously a learning curve I can take on to going forward. And then obviously the help from you, on the VIP day, you get included in the mastermind, we mapped out the launch for these new courses.
Yeah.
Launched in April and it's just gone insane.
Oh my God. So let's talk about that, because obviously regulation is coming in for the aesthetic world. Lots of people panicking. Lots of people don't know what they should do. Obviously, there's this whole battle with medics and non-medics. What's your kind of stance on this?
I mean, it's so difficult because no one knows until the regulations come out what they are. So there's so much hearsay. And for years, it's been 5 and 7. It's going to be everyone, medics, non-medics, are going to need level 5 and 7. So there are companies out there selling level 5 and 7 courses. I'm training with an academy at the moment. I have got my level 2, 3, 4, 5. I've just finished my 5, about to go on to level 7. But the scary thing is although I'm doing those, we still don't know that is going to come in. However, it is highly likely that is going to be the case, to bridge that gap and give everyone the same level of qualifications, medic or non-medic. But it is changing a lot. So initially I was about to launch level 5. And then I spoke to the companies and they were like, no, if you're non-medic now you need level 4. And I'm like, well, when did that change? Because that wasn't the rules. And they're like, it's changing all the time. But what is scary is, because I teach aesthetics, new students, generally, a lot of my students are lash artists who want to earn more money. And it's scary thinking, right, am I going to spend this investment on a new career? And then in a couple of years when the regulations come out, I'm not going to be able to work. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We make too much money as an industry for the government and regulation to then say, right, we're stopping everyone doing it. But what makes sense is to bring in those regulations. And a lot of academies out there believe that this is what's going to happen. And even if it doesn't happen, would I be gutted that I've done my level 4, 5, 7? Absolutely not. It's been a huge learning curve.
Massive
and I have taken on so much in terms of compliance and how to hold myself and consultation, and even going to the practical element that it has, just by doing those, changed my business, whether I need it or not. And in my opinion, why would you not get a head start for those regulations potentially coming in and set that bar higher, to your clients? When this regulation comes in, everyone's going to be talking about it. Clients are going to know about it. And why would you not want to already say, I'm a level 7 advanced aesthetics practitioner.
Yeah.
Like the knowledge you learn in these courses is insane. And like I say, I firmly believe this is what's going to happen. But until it comes out, we're not sure, and we're expected to find out in 2026. But, again, it does get pushed back. So I'm hoping, the regulations are announced in 2026. We'll probably be given 2 to 3 years to get these qualifications, and then we'll be able to practice. And by doing that and bringing those regulations in, a lot of people aren't going to want to do those qualifications because they don't care enough. And that is why these regulations are coming out. So the people that do care and do want to be highly qualified will do these qualifications, and you learn a huge amount. We will be all working from a similar level.
Yeah. So it is a good thing, because obviously there's a bit of war I keep seeing at the moment on socials regarding medics and non-medics, and more non-medics shouldn't be doing aesthetics, etc. I believe that, I don't do aesthetics, but I get them. So by Jade. But I believe it comes down to the training initially. And there's obviously these really, really quick training courses that you can do it, and people haven't even held a bloody needle in their life, and then the next day they're able to do it. And we hear all the horror stories, whereas the regulation will obviously stop that. But I also believe that actually I'm going to get shot down, but you could have a doctor that's highly qualified doing, let's just say, Botox, and then you could have a non-medic doing the same Botox. But actually, because that non-medic is so used to working on the face, understanding what that person wants, actually you'd get a better result from the non-medic.
Absolutely. And I always give an example as well. And I actually got through, not to the TV show, but the finals of The Apprentice.
Amazing.
With an idea around regulation and medics and non-medics. But ultimately they said to me, your idea is to change legislation. And I was like, yep. And they were like, the idea is just too big. As much as they loved it, it was too big. They actually said to me, if you'd come in to this show with your idea for pre-Jades, you would have gone further.
Yeah.
I was like, damn it. And the way I kind of convinced the people on the show and the people that are doing the recording is, I've been doing this for 10 years now. I've been working on faces. I've been working within aesthetics. I teach aesthetics. I know the science behind aesthetics. And, my salon is number one of that street. And then you get a gynecologist that is 55 years old that did his degree 30, 40 years ago, that works in the, down below regional areas, comes and opens up a shop on number 2, and the next day starts offering aesthetics. Who are you going to go to? And they're like, oh, well, when you put it like that, just because that gynecologist, or what the people that do feet, pediatric,
something like that.
Because they've got that medic title, you instantly assume that they are going to be better when they could have just done an intensive course, and they haven't done any of that anatomy for years and years. And everyone was like, yeah, actually, when you put it like that, I would come to you.
Yeah, you explained that way better than I did.
But I've thought about it such a long time. And you know what I'm like? I've sent you my spider diagrams and my folders and how I kind of plan everything out. I had spider diagrams about this, and ways to try and get someone to understand it. But it's true, if you're working on feet or, down below, or you're a specialist in hands, and then you come and instantly start working on the face. Yes, you have that medical history. And if someone went into anaphylaxis, then you would have a bit more experience in, injecting them with adrenaline.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
And it's really rare, complications can happen. But if you are trained to a high standard and you do hold a high ethical, moral background in what you're doing, the risks are lower. And even as a non-medic, and I teach, I know how to dissolve. I know how to administer adrenaline. I know how to handle someone that's going into anaphylactic shock. So why does that make a medic better than me? I'm not going to cut a client's arm off.
Yeah.
So, and medics do have that background, and that's not slating medics at all, because medics are incredible. I've got loads of students that are medics, and actually the students will say to me, God, I'd much rather come to you. And there is a divide, believe it or not, between nurses and doctors, because doctors don't even believe that nurses should be doing aesthetics.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. But I do think with the regulation coming in, it is giving that level playing field, like you said, and those that actually are taking this career seriously will want to do all the qualifications that they can to carry on doing their career, because at the moment there's so many people that are doing it for that quick buck. And are you doing this for the money, or are you doing it because, yeah, okay, we all want to make money, but actually doing it for the love and passion and actually want them for qualifications under your belt at the same time?
And you can't do it nowadays for a quick buck. Products are expensive. Like with Botox, the Botox is expensive. And then you've got prescriber fees and shipping fees and the fees for the tour back and everything else that comes with Botox. Unless you are charging, a good amount of money and you've got good profit margins, it's not worth it anyway. And these people that are coming in to make a quick buck aren't charging very much. They won't know their numbers. They're spending tons on stock. At the end of the month, they're in debt. It's not easy.
I actually love that you've mentioned this, because this is my argument regarding a beauty industry and aesthetic industry. Now, I see everyone as one, because we're all doing similar things, as in like we still need to know our numbers, we need to do our marketing, like the business side is the business side. But there's so much that I hear all the time about beauty. No, don't call us in the beauty industry. We're not the same, because they look so down within the industry because we might be doing £50 lashes or £40 nails or whatever that might be. But aesthetics, you are bringing in a higher price treatment, but the product cost is so much more. So like you said, people are seeing the bit that they get in their hands, the £300 for that Botox or whatever that might be, completely forgetting all the costs that are
more
there.
More than half of that is gone in product. I mean, some of the other treatments are higher profit margins. Your filler, polynucleotide skin boosters don't cost as much. But, Botox is one of my most popular treatments. But when you take in what you have to pay for the prescriber and the Botox, the profit margins are good. The profit margins are better than you would earn in a
100%.
A lash set or a brows, but it's not what clients think.
Yeah. And the profit margins are higher. But then that client comes back how often? They're not in every 2 weeks.
Every 3 months.
Yeah. So you need a high volume of people with beauty and not as much high volume for aesthetics. But at the same time, you need a churn of new clients constantly. Do you know what I mean? To get that regular income in.
Yeah.
If you're not obviously established and stuff, I'm talking
Which
about.
is why we've kept, the lashes and brows, because that is the bread and butter.
100%,
They are your constant.
Yeah.
We've had, I need to speak to one of my clients actually, because she was my first ever case study and she's still my client today, and we celebrate 10 years soon. So I need to do something special for her. But they are the bread and butter. Yes, someone will come in for Botox. They may not come back 3 months later. They may be push it back 4 months or 5 months, depending on financials. Whereas with, your hardcore lash and brow clients, they come in every couple of weeks. So although for me personally, I've kind of taken a bit of a step back from physically doing lashes and brows, that's what the girls in my salon do.
Yeah.
They still do those lashes and brows. I wouldn't get rid of those lashes and brows.
No.
And you can make a really good business doing lashes and brows.
Yeah.
You can still make really good profit margins because you have so many clients that come in, day out. And then you don't need to do as much marketing, as much advertising.
Yeah. And as the business owner, you can just focus on them high ticket treatments and not do the rest of the stuff, because that's what you do, isn't it?
Which is what I wanted to do. And I've been meaning to stop doing the lashes and brows for ages. I mean, my prices have bumped up massively compared to the girls. I remember just putting my lash prices up to £100 an hour. And I thought, fine, I'll just put that up. No one will book it. People were still booking. Yeah. And I was like, what? So I thought, sorry, I'll carry on doing it. And then it was January. I just thought, you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. An hour and a half lash set for the profit margin in comparison to some other treatments. So it just makes logical business sense to be able to hand those over to the girls, especially if they've got a couple of gaps, and for me to focus on the higher end treatments, which was scary at first because then you have those gaps. But now I love the gaps.
Yeah.
The gaps are slowly, filling up. But I just used those gaps for marketing.
Definitely.
I never see a gap as a negative, because I think, right, I can reply to clients, I can get a post out on social media, I can look at where I've got gaps and what I can do.
Yeah.
Same as last minute cancellations. Most people hate them. I love a last minute cancellation.
Yeah. Or I always say to people when they panic in gaps, I'm like, when you're back to back and you're rammed and you're like, I wish I had time for this, I wish I had time for that. I'm like, what are those things that you'd like to do? Do them now in that gap. And they're like, oh yeah, that'll mostly bring you more money than the client.
Oh, exactly. Quick picture of what you've just done in a review.
Yeah.
And then you feel like you haven't wasted your time. You've done that social media, and then you've done it so you don't have to do it when you get home.
Yeah, exactly. So I think just pricing right with the aesthetic treatments and adding in all of the stock is a massive thing, and then you are making very good money with aesthetics.
Stock prices are huge, and you do need to know that going into aesthetics. And I'm very forward and honest with this with our students in the courses, that this does not happen overnight. I mean, I've been doing beauty for 10 years, but the aesthetics 8 years. And it's probably taken me up to now to really get to where I want. And since, I joined the mastermind, I felt like I'm on day one again of streamlining and profit margins and working everything out. And I'm slowly getting there, but that's 8 years in.
Yeah.
It takes such a long time. It's easier to get a lash and brow client than an aesthetic client.
Yeah.
And if you are going into that industry, you've just got to be patient, consistent and patience.
Definitely. Tell us about your courses then, because people can get their levels with you, can't they?
They can. And, I mentioned earlier, we don't know what the regulations are yet, but why would you not? Why would you not want to have that title as a level 5 practitioner, level 7 practitioner? And it's all learning and growth. So, I mean, as a non-medic, most of my students are non-medics. The medics can go on and do level 5 and 7. As a non-medic, you need to do level 4 as a pathway into level 5. So our level 4 course focuses on skin science. And, you can go and do a course in aesthetics and learn aesthetics, but you don't learn that skin science. And the facial side of aesthetics and the skin science is massively underestimated. You train in aesthetics and you think Botox and fillers, but actually, the skin boosters and the microneedling and the chemical peels are incredible add-ons and incredible earners. But within these courses, you don't learn the skin science. So within level 4, it's generally a 9-month course. You can do it quicker if you really, really hone in on your study. It's a lot of home theory. So there's a lot of questions that you have to answer around skin regulations, certain treatments, and you come into the salon probably maybe once every other month. So it's a lot of home care, but it's work in the salon where you come in and you learn the treatments and you're assessed. So we've got, there's so much more that goes behind it, because you have your assessors, you have IQAs, you have EQAs who assess the IQAs, who are assessing the assessors. So there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, it's taken us months and months and months to write the qualifications. So the level 4 is kind of skin science, but it's a really nice one. And that's the one that we offer. There are other level 4 pathways into level 5 if that was something, students didn't want to do, but that's the one we offer because I just find skin science fascinating.
Yeah.
And I think it works hand in hand when you're treating the face and doing kind of plans, almost like memberships.
Yeah.
And then you've got your level 5, which we run over 12 months. So the level 5 generally focuses on chemical peels, microneedling, hydrofacials, skin boosters, mesotherapy. Again, it's a lot of theory. There's a lot of questions that you have to answer at home around regulations, how to hold yourself, how to work compliantly, and then a lot about the treatment themselves, consultation. And you probably come in, I would say, once every other month. So in the 12-month course, you're probably coming in 6 times to initially do the training, and then for assessments, and then for the EQA and IQA assessments. It's hard. It's scary because you're under pressure. But I did my level 5 assessments recently. So the assessor was being assessed, the assessor and IQA was being assessed by the EQA. And I was one of the people that were picked out the pot. Not everyone has to do it. And I went in and I was so nervous. I mean, I thrive off consultation. I spend so much time on my consultation, risks, aftercare, what everything means, the science behind the treatments I'm doing. So I felt confident. And I went in and it was amazing. I got insane feedback. The company that I'm training with got really good feedback. And afterwards, I just broke down.
Oh, really?
When you're so passionate about something, and I worked so hard to make sure I did everything right. And they gave me this incredible feedback and I just cried. And I just thought, I love what I do. And I do really know what I'm doing. And that has just proved what I'm doing everything for. And the courses that we run, we've got the best educators. I mean, the level 7 isn't out just now. We're working on that because I'm currently doing the level 7. I want to be full on involved in that until I offer it so I can have that experience. But by the time, students have done level 4 and 5, we'll have that level 7 ready. And we've got, skincare specialists, other educators on board. We work with medical prescribers who are paramedics. And we honestly do have the best team, and we deliver the best, most organised, thorough, professional but friendly training. And I can honestly say I've never, ever, ever had a negative feedback from any of my students or aesthetics training. And all of my students continue to further their careers with me and do shadow days and extra training. And, a lot of them have joined onto these regulated courses. And we do payment plans, which makes it so much easier, because it's bloody hard in today's day and age at the moment. Everything is so expensive. So we offer personalised payment plans based on, consultation. We'll have a chat with that student and see
especially because at the moment, if they're wanting to do this, is to get them ahead of the game. It's not something they might have budgeted for. Like thinking, well, I've done all my aesthetic training and now I'm going to have to add in this expense. Whereas if you're doing the payment plans and everything, then it helps massively.
I did a payment plan. I joined 5 and 7, and you get this figure and you're like, oh,
yeah,
I can't just afford to just spend that out right now. And some of these companies are charging, 10 grand for these courses. I mean, ours aren't going to cost that much, but I think payment plans, and it's the same in my business with clients. We do a lot of the full facial rejuvenations, which can, cost up to £1,000, £1,500 for a client. So I think payment plans are the way to go forward at the moment. And we do, 0% interest unless they miss payments. And if it means it helps them and it helps me and it gets people on, and I'm kind of spreading the word of compliance and higher qualification levels, then I'm all for it.
Yeah. How can people get onto like the wait list for these courses? Because I know you've been inundated since you've launched.
Yeah, so it's gone a little bit crazy, and it's a really good learning curve, because obviously you have your lesson plans and your workbooks and how you're going to work it out, and we've kind of enlisted. We've got certain different cohorts, so the first cohort onto these training dates. But there is a section on the website that they can contact us, send an inquiry, pick up the phone. Our business mobile number's on the website. You can book directly online. It's a £500 deposit to secure the reservation, and then we get in touch. It's not one of these you just, pay and you're left to it. We'll have an interview with you, explain everything, make sure you understand it, talk about, if there's additional learning needs. And then it basically goes from there. You're sent all of the coursework, and then we get assessments in throughout the course. But as soon as you enroll and register, you get sent the lesson plan. So you know exactly the layout of, for example, the level 4, the 9 months, and how it's going to look. And then, the quicker you do your theory, the quicker you can pass. It's the theory that takes the most time. The practical element is, it's nerve-wracking, but that's the easy part. But the theory is hard. And do you know what we get and have done from all of the courses? And I had it when I did my level 5 as well, plagiarism. And it's such a big thing at the moment with the theory and doing it at home. You just have to work hard. You have to put it in your own words. You have to learn. And I mean, with my level 5, I did get some feedback back that I'd plagiarized. And I was like, I didn't copy and paste anything. But what I did do, I was typing and just typed too many words that weren't my own. So I'd say, if anyone is looking to do level 4 or 5, or you're doing it at the moment, make everything into your own words, because nowadays they have systems and websites and it just all runs through. And if there's anything plagiarized, it just gets sent straight back. So don't get me wrong, it's hard work, but it's worth it. And the knowledge and the learning that you receive is amazing. And the support, students have from us is second to none. Not even, before or during, afterwards. We have a clinical oversight group. So all of our students are in this group. And it's really active, and it's a bit like the mastermind scale group. We're there to help and support. But I would say, the best way to get in contact, you can book online, but it's just to drop us a message. I'll arrange a call with you. I'll have a chat about it all to make you feel a bit more comfortable about it. And then we go from there.
Yeah, and I just think it's about not waiting. Like, why wait till last minute, or then have to get all of the qualifications done before the deadlines, when you can start doing it now, like at your pace. And then when it does come in, because the clients are going to know more about it, so they are going to be looking for their practitioners that have got these qualifications already.
Yeah. Absolutely. People are going to be talking about it and talking about everyone being level 7. It's going to be a big, widely talked about subject. I think, and let's say the regulations, they do come out in 2026 and they give us 2 years. I mean, my level 4 is a 9-month course. My level 5 is a 12-month course. The level 7 is probably going to be an 18-month course.
Yeah.
That's already up to 3 years.
Yeah.
Yes, you could do it faster, but for me, I've based it on how long it's taken me to do these qualifications and what time I want to give. And I've done it in a way that it hasn't massively impacted my life. I can do it outside of my working hours, outside of spending time with my children. And although I work well under pressure, if I was given my 2 years to do it, I would. But lots of people don't work well under pressure.
No, you still want to be able to run your businesses and have a life, right? As well as doing these qualifications.
Yeah,
So
I don't want to be given a little time frame and to think, right. And then you've got it on your mind the whole time when you're working, when you're doing this. Shit, if I don't do this, I can't continue my career. What am I going to do? So,
and it's going to phase so many people out that I just think that if you are going to do this, you're playing the long game. When everyone starts phasing out, how many more clients is there for everyone? Like, it's literally a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. And like I mentioned earlier, regardless of whether it does or doesn't come in, which I am so sure it will,
yeah,
but obviously no one knows. It's such a huge learning curve and growth phase into your business because of that. The level 4 and level 5 it's amazing. I've learned so much, especially the level 5.
Yeah.
And it has absolutely made me into a better practitioner and a better teacher. So, for training academies out there that are teaching aesthetics as well, you learn so much the way you're meant to carry yourself. And I've implemented a lot from what I was doing to now.
I love that. So we'll put in the show notes the website links so everyone can click directly on there. Jade, it's been absolutely amazing.
Thank you for having me again.
I love seeing your journey over these 5+ years. Like, you're doing absolutely incredible. So watch this space, everyone, because you're smashing it.
Thank you so much.